Where are we going?
To the witch town.
Which town?
The witch town.
Which town?
The witch one.
Yeah, which one?
Oh, Salem. Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah, we're going to Salem.
We're going to Salem. I'm very excited. And started off fantastic with Tavo already ruining his water. What just happened?
That it overfilled.
I haven't even left the driveway yet.
We're still parked.
Pray for me.
Pray for us.
Me especially.
Love you.
Love you.
And happy birthday to me. Hello everyone and welcome to another Tavo Tuesday video. Today I want to talk about what I did for my birthday. I just celebrated my 28th birthday on Monday, July 11th. And what I wanted to do for my birthday, and what I've wanted to do for a long time now, is go to Salem, Massachusetts, the place of the infamous Salem witch trials. And if you don't know, if you're new to this channel, you don't really know much about me, I am very much about the spooky. So this has been a bucket list place I've been wanting to go to for a long time. I've had friends go, just been a place I've wanted to go to. So like earlier this year, end of last year, I think I went down this like TikTok rabbit hole of like things to do in Salem, and one of the big things I saw that I really wanted to do was build your own broom. And I was like, I happened to see it came up on my TikTok, and I was like, well, that's fun. Like, you know, it's cool I can go to Disney and build my own lightsaber, but like, I want to build my own broom. That sounds like a lot of fun. And then that's spiraled me into this rabbit hole of things to do in Salem, things to see, location spots for the Hocus Pocus film. So I was like, why don't we do this for my birthday? Like, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Why don't we road trip? We road tripped from Texas to Massachusetts. 2,200 miles. If we went non-stop, it'd be about 31 hours. We drove for like 23 hours. We left Friday night at 11. And then we stopped at 11 p.m. the next day, which was actually only 23 hours because there was a time jump 1 hour ahead. So it was only a 23-hour drive. We stopped for the night, went to stayed in a hotel, and then from there we drove up to Salem. It took about 8 hours. You know, not including like all the stops that we had to make for gas and get something to eat. And we got to Salem I think about 9 o'clock at night. Something like that. It was already like the sun had already set. It was a long drive, but it wasn't that bad. Like, you know, people were like, oh, that's a long drive you're gonna make. Like, I can't believe you're doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be too terrible. I mean, we watched all 8 Harry Potter movies and the SpongeBob musical and like 3 episodes of Bob's Burgers on our way up there. So it made the time go by pretty fast. Like, my advice for anyone who wants to do like long road trips, find a movie series, or just have a list of, oh, and of course we watched Hocus Pocus, but you know, just have a list of movies that you want to watch, like movies that you know, like you don't have to look at the screen in order to know what's going on. Like, I mean, there's movies like Hocus Pocus, Devil Wears Prada, Bridesmaids. I mean, those are movies that I don't need to know. I don't need to look at the screen to know what's going on. And it helped the time go by really fast. I mean, before we knew it, we were already in Dallas and driving from San Antonio to Dallas. Usually that's about a 5-hour drive. Now, we left at night, so we didn't have to worry about traffic, like, at all. And it took us about 3.5 hours. So that was like pretty great. I was like, oh my god, like, we're already done with one Harry Potter movie. work on the second one, and before you knew it, by the end of the second one, you were out of the state. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. I would definitely do it again. If I were going to Salem, I would do it again. So we left Friday night at 11, and then we got to Salem Sunday night, July 10th. And so, because our big plan was I wanted to be there on my birthday. And so we got there, checked into our hotel, rested for the night because it was a long drive. We were both exhausted at that point. Woke up the next day, and we kind of played things by ear. We knew pretty much what we wanted to do, but it was different for us because usually we're going to Disney. When you go to Disney, you're like, okay, we have times that we need to meet, fast passes, all this junk that we need to get done, show times, etc. This we got to kind of just relax and just play things by ear, which was really nice. That way it wasn't, we weren't stressed out. A lot of the museums that we went to, they had like specific time frames that you had to buy tickets for. And so, I would get up, purchase the tickets for like an hour and a half later than the time that we finished getting ready. That way we didn't have to rush or anything. But what I didn't like kind of realize was we stayed at the Hawthorne Hotel, which is kind of like the central, like I keep referring it as like, it was pretty centered, it was pretty centered in downtown Salem, and like everything we did, the farthest thing we had to get to was 15-minute walk away. So we literally walked everything. You don't have to worry about driving. We parked our car. And we just walked everywhere, and it was so nice. The weather was beautiful. I mean, we just left Texas, which was 112 degrees, and it still is. And I think the highest it got there was like 86, 89. So it was gorgeous weather up there. First museum that we went to was the Salem Witch Museum, which was really cool. I like the way they present it. You walk into this like dark room, and there's like dioramas kind of reenacting certain events that happened during the witch trials, and they explain it to you what's happening or what did happen. And essentially a lot of people kind of get this wrong sometimes. There were no witches in Salem. The closest person there was Tituba, who was not murdered or was not sent to death, I believe. I believe she was just in jail, and I think she ended up being let out. She like, from what I understand, she grew up like with like the knowledge of voodoo, like maybe her family did voodoo, but she herself didn't really do it. And she would tell stories of it, and I think that's what got her to be someone to point the finger at her and say that she's a witch. But everybody else, absolutely no one was a witch back then. Salem is now full of witches. You walk, I mean, every other store, there's they're all like metaphysical stores, witch books, tarot cards, ingredients, all kinds of stuff. I love it. For some other people, we went into one store and you could tell some people were uncomfortable because it was a little too dark for them. Like, even the person who was working there told them, you probably will feel better going to our sister store, which is a much lighter store about healing. And because you could tell they were uncomfortable. We went to the Salem Witch Museum. We went, what else did we do that day? We went to the witch house. We got food. The food there is so good. We went to this bakery called Jaho, which was about 10 minutes away from the hotel. It was really good. They had really good drinks, really good sandwiches. I had an cookies and cream cheesecake, little cupcake, and it was delicious. I had a friend recommend it to me, and I was like, yeah, we'll try it out. It was great. And then we went to the witch house, the witch house is the only standing building in Salem that has direct ties to the Salem witch trials, because it belonged to one of the judges. I don't remember his name right now, but it belonged to one of the judges of the trial. There wasn't really necessarily any witchcraft involved in the house, but they do explain some of the things that people would do when they thought they were like cursed or something and trying to get rid of a witch, and just kind of how they lived back then in 1692. And then from there, I think we went to there's this cemetery, and next to the cemetery, I mean, in this cemetery, it's crazy when you look at these headstones and how old they are. And it's like you know, you see, like, take Billy Butcherson's headstone in Hocus Pocus. To me, like, a lot of us have always thought that that was a stylized headstone, because to me it's very Burton-esque, very much like something that he would have in like The Nightmare Before Christmas or something. But then you look at these headstones, that's how they actually were back then. That's what they actually look like. And it was just really interesting to see. And then next to the cemetery is the Salem Witch Memorial, which is kind of these like stone bench type things that had everybody's name, when they were executed, how they were executed, in which everybody was hung except for one. His name was Giles Corey, and he was pretty infamous among the trials as the only person to be pressed to death. So what happened was they wanted to get they wanted him to pretty much admit before they took him to trial that he was doing witchcraft. And in order to do that, they laid him down. They put like something on top of him, like a wooden door, they think, and put stones on him, slowly adding more weight to him to where it was crushing him. They kept trying to get him to admit, and he's famous for saying the only things coming out of his mouth was more weight. So he refused to say anything else. He refused to pretty much go along with what they were trying to do and all these false accusations and stuff. And eventually it did kill him. And it's one of the sadder stories to me. I mean, the whole instance is sad because all of these people were innocent. But this one, every time I heard the story, I kept wanting to cry. We even did a ghost tour later that night on my birthday, and they took us to the area they knew it happened in. They don't know the exact spot, but they said, you know, they kind of gave you a layout of the land, and they're like, it happened somewhere in this vicinity. So on a lighter note, after we went to the witch house, next door was a church, and the next to that was the Ropes Mansion, which was actually the exterior shot of Allison's house from Hocus Pocus. And now inside it is a museum. I think it had some like old clothing and stuff that they wore back then, but we didn't go in. But what we did do, it actually has a garden that is free to go to. They have like a little entrance like off to the side that you can go in, and it's gorgeous. It's a huge garden. It has some of the most beautiful flowers I've ever seen back there, and it's so calm back there that I was like, if I lived here and I were writing a book or something, this is where I would go to kind of relax and just get away from everything, because it's, you know, you have the wind is blowing and it's kind of rustling the leaves and the flowers and stuff, and that's all you hear. And it's, I mean, Salem in general is kind of a quiet town. I'm sure not during like October it's not quiet, but at this time it was just so quiet and calm that like it was just so nice. And so after all that, we did do some like shopping in between. We got, and I'll show you later what I got. But one of my favorite things we got is right here. We went to this Halloween museum, and I forgot to film him in the video of what I'll show you, the things that we bought. But we got this little guy. He's kind of creepy, but we love him. And he's probably going to stay out as a regular decoration because our house is slowly being taken over by Halloween decorations. His name is Ghastly. He's by Joe Spencer's Gathered traditions, handcrafted with pride, and he is adorable. They had another one. We went into this museum. And I'll talk about the museum in a second. Um, but we went in like the next day, and they had another one that was kind of like a black cat. But I was like, I like this guy. I like him the best. So we didn't get the other one, but we really like this guy. He's really cute. Okay, so we were doing some shopping, and we ended up at this museum of Halloween, or Halloween museum. There's a picture, I can't remember the order of the names, but and it was super cute. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, let's do it. I mean, it seems cute enough. um we went in, and they have like all this like stuff like blacklit, and all these paintings floor to ceiling that are lit by the black light, and they gave you these like glasses to look through that were like those light sensitive glasses, and you put them on, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to walk through this with those glasses on, because I will trip on nothing. But they pretty much had some like old decorations kind of throughout the years, but they actually did have some really cool artifacts. And you'll see I took some video of it. But some of the coolest things were they had a 16 millimeter film of Hocus Pocus that I'm assuming is what they used, when they actually used film in movie theaters on the projector. But they had two original concept art for the film. They had some sets and things from The Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, Sleepy Hollow, and just some other toys and buckets and stuff from like McDonald's or wherever. And it was a really cute museum. So I highly recommend going, especially if you're a Halloween fan like I am. And then we kind of like went around. We went back to shop at the other shops and see what everybody else had, and then we ended up going back because I didn't want to. They had Funko Pops at the Museum of Halloween, or Halloween Museum, and that's these girls right here, the three of them flying, and I'd been wanting those for a while, and you can't find them anywhere, or you can't at least find all three of them together, and they had all three, and they had one that was signed by Kathy and Jimmy, and Alex had to convince me to buy them. He bought two for me, and then I bought one. Because I've been wanting them for so long, but I was like, I just don't want to. We're in Salem, and I don't want to spend money on a Funko Pop. I'd rather spend it on other things. But I ended up not spending as much money as I thought I was going to. So in the end, it all worked out. But we ended up asking about this ghost tour that they were advertising for, and we ended up going on it after we had a birthday dinner at the tavern, which was also at the Hawthorne Hotel. And we learned a lot of interesting stuff. Things I never would have, like, I was like, I knew so much about Salem already. I was kind of like, what are they gonna show us that we haven't seen? But I was like, we haven't done a tour, like an actual tour where somebody's guiding us. Let's do this one, because I'm sure we're gonna hear some really great ghost stories. And I won't tell them all, but one of the biggest ones was the fact that one of the houses, which was like right across, like catty corner from the museum, the Halloween museum, was the house that inspired the board game Clue. So, in short, Parker Brothers, before they were like taken over by Hasbro, pretty much. I don't know how that works out, but anyway, they got the rights to Cluedo from the UK, which was their Clue. They changed the name to Clue, and this house was the inspiration for the layout of the board game, because the layout of the first floor of the building is the layout of the board game, and there was somebody who was murdered in the house, but they know who it was, and it was actually two people. And the interesting thing is that there's this museum called Peabody Essex. They own quite a few buildings around Salem, but they don't want anything to do with gruesome, spooky, supernatural, etc. I want to talk to the person and ask them why you would decide that, but you have this in which city that's known for. Yeah. So they named the house after the first owner and the third owner, not naming it after the second one because the second one was the one who was murdered in the house. So that was like completely interesting. But they told us a lot of really cool ghost stories, a lot of ones that are cringy, some of the things that actually happened, like not so much like supernatural, but like physical things that actually happened. The next day we went to the House of Seven Gables, which is the house that inspired the book that Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote. Great place, highly recommend. It also has the house Nathaniel Hawthorne was born in that was actually like 6 blocks away or something like that, and it moved, I can't remember the year, but they moved the entire house to this spot. It was a gorgeous house, very show-offy because they were rich and they wanted to show it. And it was just interesting. It was a really interesting house, and there's a secret staircase in the house that they let you go up. Very steep. Watch your head if you ever go, because you will hit your head, especially if you're tall. But after that, we had lunch at this place called Gulu Gulu, which I specifically wanted to go to because we saw it and I just saw nothing but pride flags on either side. So I was like, this is a queer owned and operated business, and I was like, I want to support it. And great food. It's definitely a place to stop. They have great drinks. We had like, I think it was a blood orange tea, and then I ended up walking out with a white chocolate raspberry iced latte, and it was really good as well. And anything white chocolate and raspberry, I'm there, so I needed it. And then after that, I got to do the thing that I really wanted to do, which was make the brooms. And let me tell you, this was the most special experience I've ever had. This was like the biggest highlight of the trip for me, like past like seeing the sets for Hocus Pocus. It was just a really special experience to me. Like I don't know why, and I can't really explain the emotions that I had for it. But I mean, it was just such a simple thing. All we did was make brooms, but like, it was really sweet. So basically, like, for anyone who wants to do it, you will book your reservation online. You put a $50 deposit down for each person who's going to be making a broom. And that $50 deposit gets taken out from the final product of your broom. So they have like small brooms, medium brooms, and then large brooms. And then you get your broom corn, which is like the bristles, and you get a color splash. You get one color, but you can add multiple colors. It is going to be an extra charge. I decided to go for a two-tone because, I was like, it's my birthday. I mean, it's the day after my birthday, but I wanted to go all out for this. And they have like dry arrangements that you can put on, some like twigs. They had charms, which a charm is included in the base price. And they have like leather that you can wrap around the broom. They had like all these little bottles with like other little charms in it, or like herbs. And they had like porcupine spikes that you could add on. They had feathers. They had all kinds of stuff. It was really cool. So you basically get to like pick and go. So the first thing you're gonna pick is you're gonna pick your handle, what size you're gonna do, and then the broom corn. And they do have, if you go for like the larger one, they do have 2 different sizes of broom corn that you can go for. One's like a little bit shorter, and then one's like a little longer. And we went go big or go home with this. And then from there, you start making the broom. This is a workout, you guys. I didn't think, like, keeping it short, my shoulders were sore the next day because you were like twisting and lifting at the same time to make sure that this twine is like really tight around the broom corn. So yeah, you go from there, you start doing the broom corn, and then you start to add on like your color splash, and then you can add on like the dry arrangements and stuff. And we went for these twigs. Um, and then from there, you can tie it off, and you're pretty much done. You can add the charm, you can add anything else you want to do on top. They do have like those leather, like I said, this leather thing to go around the top part of the broom corn, and they actually have stuff for you to etch your own designs into the leather, and stencils as well. And it was interesting. I mean, everyone was so cool. The lady was so nice who was teaching us. She gave me, me and one other person's, our birthday was both on July 11th, and she gave us these free crystals. We would talk kind of across the room, kind of where everybody's from. And somebody asked her, like, what gave you this idea to do this type of class? And she explained that the space is a performance space and that it wasn't paying the bills, so they had to come up with something else. And so they came up with broom making and bookbinding, which is definitely a class that, if and when I go back to Salem, is going to be something that I do. And everyone pretty much told her, like, it's such a great idea. I mean, it seems like she sells out all of her classes every single day. So that's why I highly recommend it. And like I said, they're so nice and everything there. This is my broom that I made. I knew I wanted something kind of like darker, which, I mean, it's me. What I love is that me and Alex kind of made something that I think represents the both of us. So I went for something a little bit darker. So I did red and black because red is my favorite color, and I just like the red and black combo. And then I went for these twigs that are all the way around. And I just think it came out so cool. They also gave you this twine, like there's like a black twine under here, and that's the one that you're using the whole time to tie this all together. And then they gave us this other twine that we could use if we wanted to kind of cover it up if we felt like it. And then this one is Alex's. He's got like this nicer like kind of red handle, or it's more of a red tone kind of handle, lighter than what mine is. And then he went for like blue and purple. Now his favorite color is blue, like, so I automatically knew that's something that he was gonna do. And then he got the same twigs that I did, but he kept his more like on the front. He didn't like spread it out like I did. But I think it looks really good. And that's kind of like how people did the, if you got like the dried arrangements, they kind of kept it like all in one on theirs, and that's his little charm that he got on there. And what I really love, like, you looked around the room and you saw what everybody did with theirs, and it really, to me, spoke a lot about their personality. Like, I could look at the broom that they made and look at them and be like, this makes sense. Like, I don't know why, it just makes sense. Like, one person, they had one of the smaller brooms, and hers had like green and then like a bunch of like little trinkets and stuff, and it gave me like fairy vibes. And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, you kind of give me like Renaissance fairy vibes, so this makes sense. That's cool. And yeah, like I said, I mean, this was just such a special experience to me. And we took pictures. We told the lady, like, thank you so much for this whole experience. You have a great thing going here. And we left, and I turned to Alex and I started to cry a little bit. Like, I don't know why I got so emotional over this. It was like, that's just how special it was to me. And it took me a second to kind of like catch myself and just get myself to not cry. But it was just such a great experience. And then other than that, we saw the town hall. It was the outside of the town hall for Hocus Pocus as well. They didn't shoot inside. Pretty much everything in Salem, nothing was shot inside. All of that was shot in LA. We did more shopping. We went back to the Halloween store again for the third time because there was this candle that I needed that they had. That it's a pumpkin chai candle, but they had it lit when we went the first day, and I was just like, that's Halloween. The way that smells, that's what I relate Halloween to, is like, when I think of Halloween, other than like a bowl of candy, I think of the smell of the pumpkins roasting from the candles being inside. And it's like one of my favorite smells, and I was like, I need that candle. So we went back and got it. But yeah, we did some more shopping, shop for like some other people. I got my mom something really special that I won't say because she's probably going to see this video before she gets it. And think that was it for our second full day. We were only there for 2 full days. And then we were there for like, like maybe 30 more minutes. We checked out of our hotel the next day, and then we drove to the house that was used as the Dennison house, which was like, that was the thing to me that was surreal to see. And we decided to drive to that one because that one was like outside of downtown, and it was like a 30-minute walk, and we didn't want to bother walking for something we're going to see for 5 seconds and take a picture. So we wanted to do it like kind of on the way out. And we did. It was great. It's a lot smaller in person. They make it look really big in the movie, but it's pretty small. And that was like pretty much it for Salem. Like, it was such a special like place for me. Like, you take out all the history, the Salem witch trials and all that, put that aside. I didn't expect Salem to be such a queer town, because like when we arrived at night. We couldn't really see much, and we just like went straight up to the room, and that was that. And when we walked out the next day, you look every single direction, you're gonna see a pride flag on every other door, and it was just so cool. And there's like every other business, like maybe not even every other business. I think every business had someone queer working there, and it was just so great. And it was kind of weird for us to be like, I've never felt so safe in a town before. And just, I don't know, I mean, I knew I was going to fall in love with the town, with the city, but I didn't expect to fall this much in love with it. Like, looking past the Halloween, the witches, all of that, it's going to hold a special place in my heart from now on. And then after that, we did like 2 more quick things. We went, like, as we were driving out of Massachusetts, we went through New York, and we went through Amityville. And if you know your horror movies or your horror knowledge, you know in Amityville is the Amityville Horror House. The house that inspired the book, that inspired the movies, the house that Ronnie DeFeo killed his family in. So that actually happened. I don't like say what you will about like what if the events in the book actually happened or not. I mean, it does. I mean, it says it's a true story, but then there's things saying, people who've lived there afterwards, that there's no hauntings that happened, and that the whole story was made over a glass of wine and stuff. Take it which will. Something happened there. Either way, the murders happened there. And I needed to see this house for my own eyes. Now, they did change the windows, because the windows were like one of the things that people wanted to go take a picture of the house with. And, there was a lot of like vandalism that they were having to deal with when the book first came out and the original movie. We just wanted to do a quick drive-by of it because I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want to stop on the street and look like that person taking a picture of that house. And so we just did a video, drove by it. That was that. And we left, and we went to, no, I'm sorry. Before we did that, because this was after, we went to the Lizzie Borden house, because that's still in Massachusetts. I got my timelines mixed up. We went to the Lizzie Borden house. If you don't know, I know there's some people who might not know who Lizzie Borden is, but Lizzie Borden is famous for killing her mother and her father with an axe. Like, maybe you've heard the rhyme. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, gave her father 41. Now, the number is incorrect. At least for the mom, it was about 18 to 20, I think they said, whacks to the head. And I don't remember the number for the father, but it was pretty gruesome. I saw some images I had not seen before. And we took a tour. And it's a bed and breakfast. You can spend the night in this house. And they show you everything. They show you where she was arrested. They show you where the father was killed. They show you where the mother was killed. And something weird happened while we were on this tour. Now, when you go into this house, immediately to the left, they take you into this room through a door. They take you into this room. She shut both this door and another door. and to kind of keep it quiet because there was another tour. And this is the room where Lizzie Borden was arrested. And also, if you didn't know, she got acquitted. Anyway, so went in there, and then from there we go through this other door that was the dining room, and then from there we went out this other door back into like the foyer area where the staircase was. Now, when we were in the foyer, there's only 4 of us and the tour guide, so 5 of us total. We're all standing right here, kind of in this hall. It's a narrow passage. She's standing halfway up the stairs. We're all right here. The first door that we went in through is closed, but the door we came out of is open, and so was the other door that we went into the dining room through. She's telling us this story, and I hear the first door, the handle jiggle. And I turned to look, and I can even see it. I saw it move. And I even saw the door, like, as if somebody was about to open the door, or just somebody pressing into it. Like, maybe they haven't turned the thing all the way to where the door is going to open, but you at least see somebody's weight get put into the door. And I'm just like, oh, it's another tour that came through, and they realized that somebody's in here, and they're not going to bother coming through. And so I just brush it off, go back to the tour guide, listen to her. Then it happens again. This time a little bit quicker, like somebody just like took it, twisted the knob real quick, and that was that. And I went, wait, I don't think anybody came in after us, and the other tour is upstairs. So I kind of just like peeked through that door, because I could see, like, just peeking through that last door that we came out of, you could see directly into that room. Nobody's in there. And I was like, okay, cool. That's fun. Anyway, back to the tour. She shows us the murder sites, and then she takes us to this room where like nothing like murdery happened in. But as soon as I walk in there, I get this vibe, something's off. I don't like this room. And so me and Alex entered the room first, and our tour guide is in there. And the other 2 are kind of lagging behind, because she did tell us, it was obviously a very small group, and she was telling us, please take as much pictures as you want, take your time, look at the entire house, like take a look at everything, because they did try to restore this house as much as possible to its original state when the Bordens lived there. And so there was no rush to move through the house. And so we had a moment, and she turned to me and she said, how you guys doing? I said, we're doing good. I have a question for you. She was telling me, when we were downstairs, I heard the handle jiggle the door that we went through first, I heard the handle jiggle. And she goes, I heard it too. I just didn't want to say anything yet. And I was like, I heard it twice. And I was like, I just want to make sure there's nothing that could have caused that to happen. There's like, it's not the other tour group like walking on top. There's nobody else down here. And she goes, nope, you heard what you heard. And I went, cool. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure, it could, like, I was just trying to debunk it. I want to make sure that nothing could possibly have it happen. While I'm saying this, her and Alex are looking at me, and behind me is a door. And they just point, and I just see them. I specifically see the tour guide go, and I'm like, what? And I hear the door behind me creak open. And I turned around and I watched it go from about here, because it was already opening, to about, it like opened about that much. And I walked away from the door. I was like, I swear I didn't touch that. And the tour guide was like, no, you didn't touch it at all. And Alex even said, you weren't near the door. Like, I mean, I was close to it, but not close enough to where I shifted my weight on the wood of the floor or anything. Because I even I let everybody in front, because we ended up going through that door into the next story. I let everybody pass through because I was like, I just need to see something. And I stepped on the floor around where I thought I could have stepped. It's solid. It's not shaking. There's nothing that's going to make that door open on its own from just my weight on the floor. and they said my back, like I thought maybe my back accidentally touched something, but I didn't feel anything. And they said, nope, your back wasn't near it. And I was like, cool. And then she explains to us that the room that we were in is the most haunted room of the house, and 1 in 30 people can't make it through the night. And I said, that's why I didn't like this room. That being said, if I ever get the chance to spend the night at the Lizzie Borden house, that is the room I'm spending the night in. That being said, at this point, this was like the end of our trip. Now we're on our way home. But now I'm just like, that's so cool. I can say something spooky happened to me at the Lizzie Borden house. And I have a ghost story from the Lizzie Borden house, from my own personal experience. How many people can say that? Probably quite a few. I mean, like I said, 1 in 30 people don't want to stay in that room. Anyway, so that was basically it. We were going to stop in Louisiana, but we were just so, like, satisfied from the things that we did do, that we were like, let's just go home. Let's not worry about another hotel. Let's just go home. And this on a high note. Have a few extra days off before both of us have to go back to work. And yeah, so that's everything that I did for my birthday and our little vacation that we took. That's that. Please stay tuned. I'm trying to make other videos. I'm trying to like work on other crafts, and I have a lot planned. It's just a matter of being able to get all of the things that I need to make these, and I can't. I've been trying, and I can't. I don't think I can do 1 video a week. It's already like these videos are gonna come out when they come out. I'm trying. But please stay tuned, because there is a lot that I have planned that is going to get made, and all of these videos that are going to get done as Halloween approaches, because if you've been keeping up, I do have a lot planned, and I will have some updates soon. I've been working on some pins, some pin designs, and I should be able to get those made hopefully soon, and we'll get to see them. And yeah, so stick around, and I'll see y'all in the next video.